think it's live now. Nabil, are we live now?
No, I'll tell you when we're live.
People are waiting. They're just messaging me already.
Tell them be patient.
We are live.
Okay.
We are live.
I think it's live now. Nabil, are we live now?
Yes. No, I'll tell you when.
Okay.
We are
just
live, doctor. Go ahead. We are live.
Nabil, thank you so much. We will just wait another minute because you could just see people are still logging in. I'm just going to give another like 30 seconds before we actually start. Wait, they're just messaging me already.
There is an echo somewhere.
Maybe we should mute our microphones, Doctor.
Yes, I think, yeah. No, I think it's a echo is in the same place.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first edition of UD CBRC webinar series. Assalamu alaikum. I'm happy to welcome you all. Today we have one of those excellent topic. That's MBSRC success story of transfer of technology. We have Professor Hussain and Engineer Saeed from MBRSC who are here to going to share the knowledge of how the knowledge is actually transferred in terms of technology implementation, what we are talking about. First of all, let me give you a quick introduction about our Center for Business Research and Consultancy, which is under University of Dubai. It was founded by Dr. Isa Bastaki. He himself is the president of University of Dubai and the CBRC founder. He held positions such as CEO of ICT Fund, Director of Education, Training and Research and Development for Dubai Silicon Oasis, Consultant and IT Project Manager for Align Municipality. He is also the founder of DSO and RIT Dubai. He is a member of 7 Academy Boards, Honorary Chair of IEEE, Chairman of Emirates Science Club, Board Member of the Cultural and Scientific Association, Board Member of KHD's UK, Board Member of Ankabut. So that's Dr. Isa himself. So Center of Business Research Consultancy is a complete industry outreach consulting initiative by University of Dubai. And its competency stems from different fields like business and general management, law, engineering, and information technology, which is the strength of University of Dubai, and that's where the CBRC gains its strengths from. Let's move on to the introduction of the speakers today. Professor Hussain. Professor Hussain is the founding Dean of Engineering and IT at the University of Dubai. He has over 36 years of higher education experience with different universities across the globe. He was also the founder of Chair of Electronic Engineering Department at both Khalifa and Etisalat University. His research interests are in the area of engineering education, signal and image processing, multimedia, remote sensing, and propagation. He is also a senior member of IEEE and a fellow of Institution of Engineering and Technology. And he himself is a chartered engineer, fellow of British Royal Photographic Society as well. He was the chairman of IEEE UAE Education Chapter. He was also the vice chairman of IEEE UAE section, and many more to his credentials. That's Professor Hussain. He is going to be one of our distinguished speakers for tonight. And we have another interesting speaker on this topic, what we're going to see today, Saeed Al Mansoori. He's the head of applications development and analysis sections at Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center. He has received his BSc degree in communication from Khalifa University of Science, Technology and Research, and MSc degree in electrical engineering from American University of Sharjah. His research interests are in the area of image processing, specifically super resolution, watermarking, object detection, and image classification. He's a member of International Society of Optics and Photonics and one of the program committee in high performance computing in remote sensing since 2012. So now I'm going to stop here and leave it to my speakers. To start with, I request Saeed Al Mansoori to please take over from here.
I think he has some problem. Oh, he came back. Okay. There's a connection problem. I think now he's fixed it. Are you there, Engineer Saeed?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. I think he has a problem. Again. Okay.
Oh,
Yes, yes. Go ahead. Yes.
okay, perfect. So hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, Saeed, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
we can see the window screen. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Hello and good evening, everybody. Initially, I would like to thank Mohammed Barash Space Center for the success story of the transfer of technology. Can you hear me, Doctor?
I think you had a problem. Now I think it's okay. Now it's okay.
So I can go ahead. Okay, so to begin with, let me present you a brief introduction on Mohammed Barash Space Center. So the story started back in 2006 when Sheikh Mohammed Rashid Al Maktoum established the Emirates Institution for Advanced Science and Technology, EAS, to be a scientific hub for research and development in space and advanced technologies. So one main goal behind establishing EAS actually is to build a knowledge-based economy and contribute in achieving the sustainable development objectives of the country. So a few years later, in April 2015, actually, Dubai government decided to incorporate EAS in the newly established Mohammed Rashid Space Center. So this slide here shows the vision and mission guiding MBRSC to achieve its goals and future plans. So the vision of MBRSC actually is to be recognized globally as a center of excellence in the field of space science and technological innovation, while the mission is
I think your voice went away.
Saeed?
Your voice went away. Can you say again the mission?
Hello?
Yes, Saeed, please.
Yeah,
We
so
can hear you now.
me?
Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, I think there is some issue with the signal. So yes, so the vision of MBRC as shown here is to be recognized globally as a center of excellence in the field of space science and technological innovation, while the mission actually is to build a sustainable science and technology sector that contributes to the national knowledge-based economy through the launch and implementation of advanced science projects and prepare a generation of scientists.
Again, your voice was gone, disappeared. Engineer Saeed, we can't hear you.
Okay.
Oh, now you can hear you, yes.
Yeah, so the MBRSC team consists of approximately 200 administrative and technical staff. MBRSC is characterized also by having young Emirati engineers with an average age of 27 years. Furthermore, it is distinguished by having a high percentage of female participation in its projects, as 40% of actually its staff are female engineers. So this slide here shows the UAE National Space Program, which consists of 4 main pillars that are the Satellite Development Program, Emirates Mars Mission, Mars 2117 Strategy, and the UAE Astronaut Program. So firstly, I will actually introduce the Satellite Development Program that aims at reinforcing the UAE capabilities in building Earth observation satellites and operating them effectively. Accordingly, first satellite, that is Dubai Sat-1, was developed in collaboration.
Again, the voice went away. You have a mic problem. You can't hear you. Engineer Saeed?
Saeed?
Engineer Saeed?
Hello?
Yeah, we are back now. We didn't hear you from beginning, from satellite development, you said. The first thing.
Yes. Yeah, so first here when so I'll be talking, as I said, about the satellite development program that actually aims at reinforcing the UAE capabilities in building Earth observation satellites and operating them effectively. So the first satellite, that is Dubai Sat-1, was developed in collaboration with Satrik Initiative, that is a Korean satellite company. It was successfully launched in 2009, noting that the Emirati participation was 30%. Then a few years later, Dubai Sat-2 was launched in 2013 with an Emirati participation of 70%. In October 2018, the UAE actually fully developed satellite, that is CalifaSat, was successfully launched into its orbit. So,
Again, it's gone. Do you have enough speed in your internet, Engineer Saeed?
hello?
Yes, you're back now.
Yeah. So the second pillar actually in the UAE National Space Program is the Emirates Mars Mission, what's so-called the HOPRO. So it is the first probe to provide actually a complete picture of Mars' atmosphere and its layers. As you all know, it was successfully launched a few days ago, and now the probe in its way to reach Mars in a journey that actually will take almost 7 months. And now I will shed some light on another vital initiative, that is Mars 2117 strategy, aiming at establishing the first inhabitable human settlement in Mars by 2117. So in line with this strategy, the UAE will build a complex of buildings called Mars Scientific City. It will comprise laboratories for food, energy, and water, agricultural testing, and studies about food security in the future. So Mars Scientific City actually will include a laboratory that will stimulate the red planet's terrain and harsh environment through advanced 3D printing technology and heat and radiation insulation. Another major component in the UAE astronaut is the UAE actually astronaut program, which aims to develop a national team of astronauts that can achieve the country's aspiration in taking part in the scientific and manned space exploration missions. Okay, so this slide here summarizes the MBRSC missions in a form of timeline starting from DubaiSat-1 all the way to the Hope probe. So as I said before, DubaiSat-1 is the first UAE Earth observation satellite launched in 2009 with an Emirati participation of 30%, while DubaiSat-2 is the second Earth observation satellite launched in 2013 with an Emirati participation of 70%. In 2017, MBRC launched NAIF-1, which is the UAE's first nano satellite. So it was built in collaboration with educational institution, primarily the American University of Sharjah, as a part of a sustainable space science knowledge transfer program. So the project helped to develop the space technology industry skills of Emirati engineering students and provided them with hands-on experience in the design, manufacture, integration, installation, and operation of small satellites. 1 year later, in 2018, MBRC actually launched its third Earth observation satellite, that is CalifaSat. It is the first satellite manufactured 100% by Emirati engineers in the clean room, actually, of Mohammed Barash Space Center in Dubai. All right, so on 25th of September 2019, Hussain Al Mansoori launched aboard the spacecraft to the International Space Station. During his mission, he conducted almost 16 scientific experiments. 6 of these experiments were conducted in microgravity to study the reaction of vital indicators of the human body aboard the International Space Station. 9 days ago, actually, Arabs witnessed a very big achievement by launching the Hope probe to Mars. So actually, it will help answer key research questions about the global Martian atmosphere and the loss of hydrogen and oxygen gases into space over the span of 1 Martian year. All right, so now let's have a look at some interesting products of our Earth observation missions. I promise it is a very interesting part and the nearest to my heart. Okay. So here are some images captured by DubaiSat-1 with a spatial resolution of 2.5 meters. So it can be used for monitoring natural resources and contributing in disaster management. So the spatial resolution of DubaiSat-2 is 1 meter resolution. It is very effectively utilized to actually study the natural phenomena related to environment. Okay, CalifaSat is let me say CalifaSat is the best in terms of spatial resolution. I'm talking here about 0.7 meter. So it can be used in several applications such as urban planning, projects monitoring, objects detection, environmental studies, and many more. So now let me shed some light on the value-added products of these all imageries here. So I'll begin by providing some.
Your sound is gone.
Saeed?
We can't hear you.
Saeed, we can't hear you.
Do you have another mic or just one mic in your laptop or whatever you have? You can change the mic sometimes. I think the problem is with the mic. It's not with the speed.
Hello?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Come back.
Yes.
Yes.
So, Doctor, I have only one mic here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Sorry for that. Sorry. I really apologize for this.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine.
Okay. So I will begin here by providing some examples of environmental studies conducted using MBRC Earth observation satellite imagery. Actually, we carried out various projects related to water resources, such as just monitoring water levels in dams throughout the seasons, monitoring the changes that occur to the coastline throughout the years. So such analysis is extremely necessary for Dubai municipality, for example, in order to analyze the changes, to be able to take some actions in advance to encounter any future crises. Detect underground water using synthetic aperture radar technology is one of the applications as well. All right, so disaster management is another area of interest. Actually, MBRSC is a very active member of disaster management organizations such as Disaster Charter and Sentinel Asia, as we provide them with high resolution satellite imagery along with analytical reports and maps for the areas that actually witnessed crises.
Again, you are gone. Again, you are gone.
Saeed, we're not able to hear you. Saeed?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. Okay, so here are some recent examples of the maps provided to Sentinel Asia showing the detected floodwater in Japan. Here are another examples of the floods in India and Indonesia, which took place in July 2020. Artificial intelligence is a hot research topic nowadays, as you know. So it can be effectively utilized in geoscience remote sensing in several applications. For example, it can be used to automatically detect ships with the help of machine learning and deep learning approaches. It can also be used to detect, for example, other objects like airplanes, electric towers, palm trees, and so on and so forth. AI can also be used to automatically detect changes in a particular area throughout the years, as shown here. Okay. Okay, so sometimes we need to do on-site survey to collect data and generate products through using drones, for example. So we conducted a study to investigate the impact of rainfalls on the mountains surrounding the dam in Dubai in order to analyze if there is any risk encountering the nearby villages, farms, or homes. So to do so, we generated an orthophoto for the area of interest, which is Hatta Dam. Along with that, actually, we generated a very accurate digital terrain model to know about the heights of the mountains and buildings in this region of interest. And finally, actually, we generated a 3D model as shown in this slide here. So this video here shows our final outcome related to the 3D model analysis for Hatta Dams. We used actually ArcGIS tool in order to generate the hydrological model to obtain the water flow direction in case of rainfalls and on that area, as shown in that map here. So this slide here shows the academic institutions collaborating with MBRSC on a regular basis. And here are our distinguished end users that we actually proud to serve. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm sorry for any
Thank you very much, Saeed. And we know that we had some issues in your mic in terms of the way that you delivered, but it was very interesting. So now next I would request Professor Hussain to take it over from here. Professor Hussain, it's all yours now. Please go ahead. Saeed, if you could just stop your screen so Professor Hussain can take over from here.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Engineer Saeed, for the talk, although there was a problem with the sound. What I would like to talk is about the success story of the transfer of technology. As you know, the transfer of technology usually means transferring technology horizontally. And the Space Center was successful in doing that, and they demonstrated that success by building Khalifa Sat and launching the probe of Hope. So in my talk, I would like to talk a little bit about the leadership and management, which caused that success, and briefly about the staff at the center and the importance of funding and collaboration. As we said, that the transfer of technology is horizontal, but I think the Space Center now is moving further than that and going into research and development. So they're going vertically. And for that purpose, they have established MBRSC lab at University of Dubai. And finally, I'm going to talk about the opportunities for investing in knowledge. So the first thing is, of course, the leadership. And as you know, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed has got vision for space, and he was behind all these efforts. And as you know, in 2030, we are moving towards the knowledge-based economy. And there is a long-term plan, 2017. Hopefully, we will have the Mars colony. And as Engineer Saeed said, already the plan started for Mars city near the Space Center. Now, I would like to mention something about the ICT leaders. You know, in the United Kingdom, they say that, you know, most graduates from Eton College, they have jobs in the government, and they become ministers, and some of them are prime ministers. So the ICT leaders, most of them, they came from Etisalat College. And of course, His Excellency Yusuf Al-Shaybani is one of the graduates of Etisalat College, and he was behind the achievements at the Space Center. Now, the staff at the Space Center, they are engineers and scientists. And as you know, the space environment is challenging for engineers. It's not like, you know, assembling a PC or assembling a television or assembling a mobile phone, because it's completely different technology, very complex technology. And this is why they required talented engineers and scientists. And I was lucky that, like I monitored the progress from the beginning of the space program, and I have seen most of their engineers, and I know that like they are very selective in selecting talented engineers and scientists at the center. And now some of those engineers, they spend 8 or 9 years in Korea, and this is an important thing because, technology, you cannot just say, like by tomorrow, I want to have the satellite technology or I have high technology. And as engineer Saeed said, like when they went to Korea, they participated in the design only 30%. And then after building DubaiSat 1, they built DubaiSat 2 in Korea, and they participated with 70%. So after some of them spent 8 years, some of them spent 9 years. And then when they came back to UAE, they built DubaiSat 3, which was named KhalifaSat. So this is a challenging thing for engineers, like when you tell engineer, like go for training for 1 month, for 3 months, it's okay. But when you tell people, like you go to Korea and spend 8 years in order to learn the know-how. And I really admire those engineers who were dedicated and spent that time in Korea, and then when they came back, they knew this complex technology. And again, they became professionals because this is how they managed to build KhalifaSat and the Hope probe. Now, the funding and collaboration is another important thing because, all the space program is expensive program, and fortunately, like we have here the ICT fund, and the ICT fund is sponsoring research projects and sponsoring the Mars program, and also providing students with scholarship in the ICT sector. Now you might say, why Korea? Actually, the company which helped the Space Center in building DubaiSat 1 was a spin-off from KAIST, and KAIST, one of the top universities in the world. I mean, imagine, like if they have gone to Europe or to US and just bought a satellite, then they wouldn't learn how to make a satellite. So this Korean company provided them with the training and the know-how. And after doing these 3 satellites, DubaiSat 1, DubaiSat 2, and KhalifaSat, I think now they are collaborating with the Japanese, with JAXA, and they are working on DubaiSat 4. And also they collaborated with universities. And this is an important thing because, as we said, the transfer of technology is done horizontally. And there are some international universities, US universities, and also with the help of the local universities. And our university is helping them with the space program. We're working with them with the remote sensing and image processing. Now, after finishing, like this horizontal transfer of technology, now they are moving vertically because now they are going into research and development, and this is why they established the MBRC lab at University of Dubai. And here we see His Excellency Yusuf Shaybani with Dr. Aisha Bastaki, our president, inaugurating the laboratory in 2018. And an interesting thing about the research model, which was adopted by the MBRSC Space Center, is different from different organizations. We always, like have companies coming to universities and say, we have a problem. Can you give it to your student? It doesn't work like that. And they realize that you need dedicated full-time researchers for doing the research. And then you need equipment, you need hardware, you need software. And the university must have supervisors. And currently, like in the MBRC lab, we have 7 full-time researchers, and we have 5 experienced faculty who are supervising the project. And of course, we have engineers from the center who are again supervising this project. And these projects are coming from, as Engineer Saeed mentioned, some of them. And then the students, they come, because the students, they will be trained in the center and trained in the laboratory. And hopefully when they graduate, then they can work on research projects, or they can develop their own companies. So this, and of course, there will be some algorithms, there will be some software, some hardware. And for the past 2 years, we were developing algorithms and software. And now we are going to work on FPGA for the image compression. And of course, we will have patents, we'll have conference and journal papers. And again, like these things are expensive, and the center is taking care of all these things. Here we have some photos showing the center. And if you look at the laboratory, you just see PCs. But I don't know whether you can see my cursor. The PC there is very expensive, because like when you run artificial intelligence algorithms on these PCs, you cannot just run them on your laptop, and you need expensive PCs. And some of them, they cost over 100,000 dirham. And a lot of people questioning, why space? We have problems here, maybe traffic, maybe other things. Like now we have COVID. But why are we going to the space? Actually, from the space, we're solving problem for here. As Saeed said, we are helping, like the municipality with the urban planning, with extracting the information regarding building, roads, green areas, and other things. Also, Dubai municipalities now is going to have its own satellite. It's called DMSat, which was going to be launched soon. And this will be used for monitoring the Dubai environment. And the satellite can be used for monitoring oil spills. And as you know, oil spills is very dangerous because of we rely heavily on the desalination plant. And you cannot see the oil spills unless you use satellite. And as Saeed said, we're using satellites for monitoring the coastal lines. And also we're using satellites for archaeological sites. A lot of people think that the satellite can see like a camera, but actually the satellite, if it has got microwave and these are called SAR satellites. They can see below the Earth. So it depends. If they are using L-band, they can see a couple of meters. If they increase the frequency, they can see in centimeters. And this is another important thing, so we are helping Dubai municipality with this project by looking at the area near Saruq al-Hadid. Also, the seismic analysis and vulnerability assessment, like when there is a landslide, or God forbid, if there is an earthquake. So with the satellite, we can monitor things. Now, as you know, engineers are problem solvers. And one of the important things about the satellites, as you know, they have a large number of talented young Emirati engineers. Those engineers, if they can solve problems with the satellite, then they can solve problems here in Dubai. And a good example is the sustainable house, which was built inside the Space Center. Now, if you look at this house, you say, oh, this is normal house, like two-story house with solar panels. As you know, one of the challenges which we have here is that during the summer, 70% of the electricity goes towards the air condition. And the engineers there, they solve the problem not because there is limitation. You cannot increase the number of solar panels on the roof of the house, but they solve the problem by insulating the house. So rather than, increasing the electricity so that it can cope with the air condition, they reduce the electricity required by insulating the house. So the house has got insulator from outside and from inside. And also they used triple glazing. And also, that the air condition generates water. So they use that water for flushing the toilet. So their house is sustainable. And this is a great achievement. Okay, you might say, well, this house cost slightly higher than a normal house because of the insulation, because of the triple glazing and the batteries. But because this is one house, in the future, if we're going to build 5,000 or 10,000 houses like this, then that will reduce the price. So this is an important thing. This is another achievement. When you have talented engineers, they can come with solutions outside the box. Another thing which I would like to talk is about the knowledge-based economy. And as you know, the knowledge-based economy needs people with more than one degree. Needs people with master's degree, with PhD, and this is the future. So imagine if tomorrow I have a baby.
You think you'll have?
Morning, assume that I have a baby. I have to wait 18 years until that baby finish secondary school. And then until 2042, he will get a degree in engineering. And then in 2044, he will get a master's degree. And in 2048, he will get a PhD. So it's a long time, okay? And what will happen to me? I will be like that in 2048. Okay, now what is the cost? Well, first we have to wait until 2048 for this baby to get a PhD. And it's going to cost the government, I would say, a couple of millions of dollars, maybe $5 million or even more, subject to the inflation. So if we can as you know, the knowledge-based economy requires large number of PhD holders. And I think I would like to take this opportunity to advise young engineers, like, you better prepare yourself for the knowledge-based economy, because in 10 years time, unless you have master degree or PhD degree, you wouldn't be able to work in these high-tech places. And also we need to encourage people to start their high-tech companies. And this is a golden opportunity for talented, smart professionals. So I think, most people, when they come to Dubai, they would like to invest their money in real estate, or maybe they start a restaurant or a hotel. But I think in the future, we will have, talented people coming to Dubai, and they start high-tech companies, because that's the future. And we will see, different types of expert, and also hopefully, our Emirati engineers will start their own companies, and they will work in this in the space technology. And as Dr. Isa said, all the time, then we will be able to say that we are making things in UAE and we sold them globally. Because, when we make these satellites, when we make these probes, we can export them, we can sell them to our neighboring Arab countries or third world countries. And of course, this will generate an income, because, as you know, space technology is an expensive technology for UAE. So this is a golden opportunity for UAE engineering graduates or science graduates to think now of starting their own companies. And I think there are so many schemes in UAE to help young people to start their companies. Finally, I hope one day I will be able to visit Mars, and I would like to thank you for listening.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, I will stop sharing now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Hussain. That was a very fantabulous presentation, and especially taking us through the journey of MBRSC, and especially at University of Dubai, how we are supporting MBRSC in terms of what they want to achieve, their vision and mission, under the leadership of Dr. Isa Bastaki as well. Yes, as the saying goes, UAE will celebrate the last export of last drop of oil, and which is something which is coming true. The way that you said, rightly put it, made in UAE. This is what this country is foreseeing, which is very welcoming to all of us, especially the expats and the non-expats, including the Emiratis here. Thank you so much, Professor Hussain, once again. I really appreciate that. We really appreciate that on behalf of CBRC. Let's take some questions. We have some questions. First question is, particularly you talked about one of the questions from the participants. You were talking about the infrastructure in the MBRSC lab, basically. So we're talking about those expensive PCs or expensive hardwares that needs to support the image processing or the image storage or whatever. So now that the cloud technology is in place, so do you think that we need to have such an infrastructure at the university? This is one of the questions that had come from the participants.
Yes, the answer is yes, we need this. You know why? Because the satellite images, they are huge. So if I want to use the cloud, then each time I have to upload the image and download the image after processing. That's one thing. The second thing is the cost, like when you subscribe to the cloud, if you subscribe for 1 year, it will be similar to the cost of buying the PC. And also, you have to worry about the security of the information. Because as you know, these satellite images, you don't want to put them on the cloud. You want to put them on your computers, on your servers, if they have sensitive information. So it is possible, yes, it is possible to use AI on the cloud if you are using it for a short period of time, of course. Like if I have a small task and I want to work for next week, it's much cheaper, to go to the cloud. But again, when I have huge images like these satellite images, and as you know, if you have noticed that Saeed, I think, mentioned some important thing, that the resolution of the DubaiSat 1, DubaiSat 2 was 1 meter, and now KhalifaSat is 70 centimeter. So in the future, it's going to be less than 70 centimeter. So it means that there will be more pixels in each image. And these images, they are huge. And, uploading them and downloading them will be very difficult.
We have another couple of questions. Applied research education can create value with small business. So one of the participants is asking for to give more view on sustained ecosystem, basically. A sustained ecosystem is what the question is. So how do you look at this one, Professor Hussain?
Yeah, I think maybe I can ask Dr. Isa to comment on that, because he has already started, training place with the Crypto Lab. Dr. Isa.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Hussain and Engineer Saeed. Sorry, Engineer Saeed, your voice sometimes wasn't clear, but it was an excellent lecture. Actually, when you look at sustainable economies around the world, you have some elements that you need to make sure they are there to make you sustainable and make the society sustainable and cities sustainable. Of course, universities, they have to, I think, cover most of these elements. One of the things is leadership, and Dr. Hussain talked about it. Leadership is very important for sustainability of any endeavor, any society, any city, any vision. And so, and the leadership of UAE has proven that it has a vision, and they know how to go to the vision, and they plan to go to the vision. So I think leadership is very important. Same thing goes to organizations, to institutions, and so on. Leadership is the #1 characteristic of becoming a sustainable society or city. The other thing, if you look at sustainable economy, is education. And when I say education, it should be quality education. And quality education as a sense of actually serving the society in all senses. That's why quality of education means that you need to deliver the right graduates and the right graduates for the jobs required for the sustainability of the economy. And then you go into the research and business development, right? And also universities do that. You have to go into research and development, but also you need to create products that can be sold, can be commercial. So you need to have research and business development. And then you go into, and this all is a part of the University of Dubai. We have a quality teaching. We have research and business development, as we have the Center for Business Research and Consultancy that taking care of it. And then also we have the Dr. Hussain said about the crypto labs. And since His Highness Sheikh Mohammed Rashid in his 50th charter The sixth clause says that the universities, private and public, should be free zones, in the sense that universities create companies, create startups and license them. That's how it is. So we joined with Crypto Labs, University of Dubai, so that we can incubate the ideas of students, staff, or faculty, to incubate it in Crypto Labs, and from there they go through a specific process to become startups. So you see, all these elements are very important for sustainability of the economy. And then you go into the main infrastructure, ICT infrastructure. And UAE has proven that we are capable of building anything on the ICT infrastructure. And the COVID-19 that came in, the ICT infrastructure actually helped us to continue with our all kind of processes, education processes, financial processes, any kind of process that continued going without any stop because of the ICT infrastructure. And then the main thing is, of course, when you talk about education, you talk about the human capital. So human capital is part of that education. The last but not the least is we have to look at the future. The United Arab Emirates is looking at 2117, not tomorrow or the after tomorrow, 10 years from now. We want to build a colony. We want to build a settlement in Mars that is habitable. So we need all the requirements to sustain that place, plus the human being can be sustainable, also can live there with food and oxygen and any kind of needs. So the future trends is very important. And future trends, if you work something today for tomorrow, then you will be sustainable. So you need to know what will be happening in the future. And the more research you do, the more you realize future coming in 5 to 10 years. If you look at IEEE transactions and you read the researches and try to see what's happening, actually they're talking about future. So today, a research comes in after 5 years implemented. So we need to go deep into research so that we can expect the future and work on it to be now. One of the things also in UAE, which is 10X project. 10X project is looking at the future from now. So if the countries of the world want to be something in 10 years, we want to be this year. So UAE, and especially Emirate of Dubai, is trying to lead the world 10 years earlier than others. So whatever is happening will happen according to this project 10X, and all the government entities are working on it. And believe me, in 3 to 4 years, you see projects that they are supposed to be done in 10 years, but they'll be done in soon. So we'll lead the world in the technology. I think these are main elements, maybe Dr. Hussain want me to tell, to make a knowledge-based economy, sustainable knowledge-based economy, and that's how the UAE government is working on.
And also, Dr., if I may add, also we have the Center for Future Studies, because I mean, here in UAE, we are planning for 2117. So this is why we need to see what is the future.
Yes, you guys reminded me, the Center for Future Studies is the thing that is looking for the future, is looking at the vision of the UAE, vision of the world, and then putting scenarios, and according to these scenarios, they are planning for the future. So I think all of these are part of the University of Dubai. And I think I answered the question, I hope.
Yes, Dr. Isa, that was very thought-provoking, profound, and very deep thoughts. Thank you so much. It's also understood that one of the very few university in Dubai, I can proudly say that, working very closely with the futuristic thinking of the country, which actually shows the quality research that what we do at University of Dubai when compared to the rest of the universities here, which really puts us, in category A when it comes to applied research. This is what the country needed at this juncture. Yes. Thank you very much once again for the thoughts. One last question before we kind of call it off as a session. It's a very interesting question though. They're asking about the cost of knowledge transfer especially taking Hope Probe as an example. So what could be that cost cost of knowledge transfer that had happened?
Well, the cost is expensive. I know that the space technology is expensive technology, but look at the benefits. Is there another way of getting, like a couple of hundreds of engineers and scientists? They are trained, for 8 years or 9 years in Korea, and they come here. I think, those guys in the next 10 or 20 years, they will do wonders here because they are different from other engineers with respect to other engineers.
Well, can I add something?
Yeah, sure.
If you look at the country of United Arab Emirates, Allah yarhamah Sheikh Zayed, he started the drive. He sent all the UAE graduate high schools to the best universities in the world. And all of them came back and built this country. It was costly, but knowledge transfer is never costly. It's never. No matter how much you put in, the return is much higher than what you consume. So don't worry about the cost of knowledge transfer, because innovation for the UAE is not a choice, it's a necessity. We depend on oil. After oil, either there is a competitor coming in, or maybe it slows the production and suddenly it finishes and depletes completely. Then what? Are we going to have the same economy? I don't think we will. We need to have the knowledge transfer because we need to build our country. And that's why Sheikh Mohammed, Hussain Sheikh Mohammed Zayed said, through education, after 50 years, we'll be celebrating when we export the last barrel of oil. Why did he say that? Work now for knowledge transfer so that we build our own future. We build our own economy. So it's not a choice, it's a necessity. And that's the reason why also there was the National Innovation Strategy launched by His Highness Sheikh Khalifa, the President of UAE, Al-Ahmad. He launched in 7 sectors. One of them is space. Why did he launch in these 7 sectors innovation? All of them very important, which I talked about. He talks about transportation, talks about health, about education, talked about water resources. Then he talks about renewable energy, space, and technology. 7 sectors. All these 7 sectors are very important for the sustainability of our economy. So no knowledge transfer is expensive. We all have to know that. Knowledge transfer is actually, the return is so high, you can never imagine it.
And one of the,
Doctor, if I may add, the house, which I said, which I talked about, the sustainable house, when you import technology, technology which will work in south of Europe will not work here because the temperature here is more. Yes. So this is why, the people at the Space Center, they solve this problem not by increasing the power coming from the solar cells, by just using insulation and triple glazing. And also, we have limited, we don't have rivers here. We have limited water resources. So again, if you can utilize the water, generated from the air conditioning to flush the toilet rather than waste the water which is coming from the desalination plant.
By the way, one thing I could say that University of Dubai is the first or maybe second in the world university that is net zero energy campus. Means we are generating electricity 100% from solar farm. And even as Dr. Hussain said, we are not using water for maintenance, for cleaning. We're using robots, dry cleaning. So all these together actually is what our environment enforces us to do. We need to have our own brains to work on the projects because our projects are different than other projects, as Dr. Hussain said.
Yes, actually, yeah, that was a very insightful again. And as all of us know, the University of Dubai always sets an example when it comes to technology implementation. And a lot of examples that we are already having at the University of Dubai, starting with the MBRSC lab, and we have the desk, and we have other couple of research labs within the university itself. Talks about the richness of the research that is being conducted, and also the applied research that is adding value to the country. So let me also say this few words. At the University of Dubai, we have a very strong vertical and horizontal integration of different colleges. Dubai Business School, we have College of Engineering and IT, College of Law, and also we do have other allied courses within the university, working in different research areas. So thank you so much for all those answers provided by Professor Hussain and Dr. Isa. And let me also have to share a couple of more slides on Center of Business Research and Consultancy, because you know, as the agenda goes, this seminar is hosted by Center of Business Research and Consultancy, which is the business research and consultancy arm of University of Dubai. So which means that we reach out to the public and private sectors in the region for different consulting initiatives, and which is quite evident, and we have been operating in this space for many years now, and we are continuing to operate in that space. I just wanted to share some of those information, you know, for the benefit of the audience here. Just a quick information about MBRSC. I've just put like a kind of a 45 seconds video for all of you to sort of you know, understand, and you can reach out to us in future in terms of what we do, how we do, and how we can reach out to us for various initiatives, consulting initiatives at University of Dubai. So here you go. To check on the time as well, so we kind of slightly overshoot the time. That's fine, because we had some challenges in the thing. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone. And once again, we are presenting Center for Business Research and Consultancy, which is the extended arm of business research and consultancy of University of Dubai, under the leadership of Dr. Isa Bastaki. We have a very strong expertise of business faculty, engineering faculty, and IT faculty, and law faculty as well. We are here to hear your challenges, concerns. Please feel free to reach out to us. And on the screen, you can see our email ID. For any kind of a consulting initiatives, we do have a very strong presence of research labs that we can set it up at University of Dubai. And we are already in talks with some of those private banks as well in the region to set up the research labs. So in a nutshell, we are here to support you. We are here to hear your business challenges, and we would like to work closely with you in all of your consultancy initiatives that you would want to look for the future. So that is the Center for Business Research and Consultancy for University of Dubai. And this is here we go. Here is the first formal end of the first webinar of technology transfer that we talked about it. Professor Hussain and Saeed, supported by our President, Dr. Isa, on behalf of University of Dubai and the people who supported this webinar to come to this extent. Thank you very much. And you all have a very nice evening. And one more information before I cut off the call, we're going to have this webinar series every week. And just stay tuned for the webinar series that's going to come on every Wednesday from now on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.